instead of what's up? Like straight out of the fucking late 90s. What's up? I wore my hat to the side, like, you know, like they have the, I don't, it's not backwards, but you know, to the side. Yeah. What's up? I don't know why I said that, but what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the J&J Power Hour. We had a big Star Wars episode last week.
We did.
So if you're not a Star Wars person, welcome back for the first episode in 2 weeks, because I understand that not everyone is a Star Wars person, but
not everyone can be of
the elite status.
Yeah, the elite status. That's a good way to put it. I was trying to think of something that would be a dig, but yeah.
May the force be with you always. But we won't talk about Star Wars this week. To be honest, guys, we haven't done a little bit of a wrestling episode in a hot week, and I've got some opinions on wrestling. We are recording this as per usual before Monday Night Raw. But WrestleMania Backlash has passed, so I'm sure we'll talk about all things WrestleMania Backlash today on this show. But first and foremost, standard question, but how you doing, JPJ?
I'm good. Feeling good, ready to talk some wrestling. It has been a little bit since we've had like we always seem to get there one way or another. But it has felt like it's been a little bit since we've had a full-on wrestling episode. Probably Mania, I would think, like right before Mania.
Yeah, well, we took a dip
after there.
Yeah. So
but no, I'm doing good. Life's good. Can't complain. Yeah. Same old, man. Same old. Grinding.
Yeah, that's how it seems to be. I've been in such a rut lately with things, but I'm not sad or anything. I'm just ready to progress with some things in life, and I don't really feel like, you know, when you just feel very stagnant, you're like, what is going on here? Like, what am I actually really doing? I'm just ready for some change. Like obviously I moved house and stuff like that. I thought that would kind of bring in a new kind of spark with me. I'm like, okay, new space, new scene, you know, what are we doing? Didn't really do much other than just be a bit of an annoyance of just getting everything organized. But, you know, I'm just ready to do some other things, explore some other things, meet new people. Like, I'm just ready to do that kind of stuff. But I mean, whatever. Like I said, I'm not sad or depressed or anything. I'm just feeling stuck. I'll get out of it. I'm sure you guys will hear more about it, because that's just how I am as a person. I'm just like, let's just write it on Twitter. I just feel like sometimes when you put stuff out into the world, it kind of makes you go towards that kind of stuff. Like, I want a new job. I'm putting it out there, so then I'm accountable to actually go and fucking do it, instead of, because then it's just on me. If I'm not moving, it's on me because I'm not doing anything. You got to make the steps. It's just, I don't know. The first step is always the hardest, I feel. But
correct.
You know, again, I am everybody reaching out that they've seen on TikTok and stuff like. I'm honestly fine. I'm not. You would know that if I was sad, because I would not be on social media, and that would be people like, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, I am more than okay. But I do have I feel this internal something towards me today with wrestling. I think I've been very honest with the fact that I watch less wrestling now than I ever have in my life, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the balance that I've created with wrestling at the moment, where I'm not fussed if I miss something. If I miss something, I miss something, big whoop. It used to be like, I would watch every piece of wrestling that would come out, and if I missed it, I'd stay off the internet until I seen it. Like, I would just, I would obsess, like, I've got to be home for this time. I got to be home. But now I'm like, if someone's like, obviously, because wrestling airs during the day. Hey, Josh, want to go and get some lunch today? Oh, it's Tuesday. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, big whoop. I miss a Raw. You know what I mean? Like, big whoop. I miss the Dynamite. Big whoop. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But I feel like I've got a healthy balance with wrestling now, where I'm not obsessed with it, but I'm also still in the loop, and I'm still enjoying what I watch. Because you watch something too much and you're not going to enjoy it. You watch something less frequently, you go, oh, when I do watch it, I have a good damn time. I feel like I thought it was me, to be completely honest, with WrestleMania Backlash, JPJ, going into this show. I was like, I just don't care. Like, there's not a lot on here. Like, I don't care, but it seemed to be everybody.
Yeah, I feel like it was the majority. I mean, what did they...
Well, yeah, go on.
Truly, going into it, what the hell did they give you to be excited about?
There was 6 fucking matches on that thing, and only one of them was a title match. I said to you on we did a simulation stream, which, by the way, we have a fucking blast doing those simulation
streams. They are a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun.
I've said this on the stream again, trying to be accountable. We're gonna try and do them maybe like, the SmackDown before WWE pay-per-views. I'll try and hook up with JPJ always and do those simulations because they're just dumb and they're fun and
they're very fun.
Like they're just an idiot thing. But I said on that stream, I'm like, there's one title match, and I mean the stream went for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was a quick one.
And it's quick. So it's interesting that you have 6 matches and you have, majority rematches, which I don't mind on a show that's called WrestleMania Backlash. Sure, you want to have WrestleMania rematches, but also you're not booking people that had the biggest moments at WrestleMania. Like, where was Bianca? Where was Sasha and Naomi? Where was Becky? Where was Asuka, who just come back? Like, why couldn't... I know, obviously, we'll talk about Rhea Ripley in a minute, but, like, why wasn't Rhea and Liv on that show somewhere? It's very easy to still be able to do the other thing that Rhea did. Like, it was just a really weird... I'm not just talking about women. The lack of women was a problem, but, like, I'm not just talking about women. There was... Where was Theory? Where's the Intercontinental Championship? That's like playing, that's like playing a fucking game of Monopoly.
Where are the women's tag team titles?
Where is everything?
Like, yeah. And that to me was the greater thing for me is, I'm a wrestling fan. Clearly, we both are.
Really?
I'm gonna watch the show, and I thought all in all, the show was all right. The show was pretty good. I mean, the matches were good. It was it was a good pacing. It was quick. Yeah. It was a fine show, but how is there only one title on the line? Like, how is you're going in, and the main thing that you were promoting going in was the title unification match. That was the main thing. I was at SmackDown when it was in my neck of the woods, literally 2 weeks ago.
And they're like,
and they set up that match. They said it's official at Backlash. This is happening, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, that's like the main thing you're touting for this pay-per-view. And then the next week it's that match is off. We're just going to have a 6-man tag because we're adding Roman and Drew. But we're not we're not making it winner take all. We're not making the titles involved at all. It's just straight up going to be a 6-man tag. And it's
very odd.
Very bizarre. And then they have it main event, which that shouldn't have been the main event. I'm sorry. That should have been the first match of the night. If none of the titles are on the line, it should not be the main event.
I'm on agreement that a title match should go on last.
Charlotte and Ronda should have main evented. I actually thought their match last night was good.
Well, yeah, let's start there because I actually genuinely, I was like, midway through that match, I was like, this is a good fucking match.
Yeah, it was a lot better than what we saw at Mania.
Listen, their Mania match, I know you said you didn't hate their Mania match, but I understand if someone did hate their Mania match because it wasn't amazing. It wasn't anything that I would go to bat over or defend. Honestly, I would not fight someone over that match. It would not be a hill to die on. To be like, fuck yeah, that match. But their I Quit match was much better. And that was the Ronda that I remember loving back in 20, whenever she was there. I was like, because I never hated Ronda Rousey in that year, especially when she was a heel. I was like, you're annoying me. You're pissing me off, and that's a good thing. Like, you're telling me everything that I know is true about wrestling, but I don't want to hear. And we don't need to talk about Ronda's accomplishments. She has a lot of equity behind her, but that in the ring Ronda, I was always like, Ronda can get it done in the ring, but I have not seen that in the last few months, like since her comeback. This I Quit match I was like, yes, this is what Charlotte and Ronda are capable of. This is what we seen at Survivor Series in 2018 when they had a fucking banger of a match. And there was a lot of callbacks to that with the kendo sticks, and I like that. I was like, I love
when they had like the face off, like the kendo stick
face
off.
I was like,
all right.
It showed me Charlotte has been a step behind herself in the last few months as well. And I was like, yes, this is what Charlotte Flair. I put out a tweet during the pay-per-view. I was like, you do not appreciate, like, you as in the general internet, you do not appreciate how good Charlotte Flair really is. No one does. Everyone's just like, she's overbooked and she wins all the titles all the time and she's always in the title picture. That does not correlate to what you can get done in the ring and how good of a promo she is, which no one likes to admit either. But Charlotte Flair is fantastic, and I knew that Charlotte and Ronda could kill it, and that's the kind of match I knew they could have had at WrestleMania, but they just didn't. Listen, the story has been shit. There's no other way to put that. I love Charlotte Flair, and as a Charlotte Flair person and a Charlotte Flair fan, I could not give a shit about Charlotte and Ronda, but they proved me wrong at Backlash. I was like, damn, I'm not saying it was match of the year or anything like that, but it was damn good. It was a damn good I Quit match. It wasn't long, like overly long. It did what it needed to do. I'm not a Ronda Rousey person right now. I don't love Ronda, but obviously Charlotte, she's getting married in the next month or
she's
so.
taking time off. So they've announced that,
she had broken arm or something.
Broken arm. So either whether it's married and honeymoon or just taking some time off, whatever.
Hey, she's earned it, to be completely honest. She's been on a train that's just kept going and
I
going.
I responded to that tweet, and I was just like, I was like, I think I put like the goat emoji, and like that was me being a little bit facetious. But like it's true though, like you
over exaggerate. Of course.
People do get, it's the same thing. You've been starting to hear it with Roman too. The people that are always at the top for a long time, people get, oh, I want somebody new, this or that. And it's like, okay, well,
who do you want then? Who the fuck do you want?
Again, this is not a fan problem. This is not a talent problem. Who has if you're being objective, if you're being objective and you're looking at it's SmackDown, right? Charlotte.
Sure,
you can throw Roman and Charlotte, they're on the same show. If you're looking at the SmackDown roster, besides Ronda Rousey,
who was arguable, by the way.
I agree. Sasha Banks is up there, but she's part of the tag title champ now, so
and she's on that. There's a few people
on a different
in
level.
That is on that level. But I'm sorry, but you want someone like Shotzi? Shotzi's not fucking ready.
You can even put it this way. Right now, if you have to take Naomi and Sasha Banks out of the picture because they are the women's tag titles, who is Ronda's first challenger?
Natty. But Natty is Natty is not believable beat Ronda Rousey person. She is, let's just
let me rephrase. Who on SmackDown right now, besides Charlotte, and we're not counting Sasha and Naomi if you want it, but Sasha and Charlotte are really.
But I don't even think Naomi's on that level.
I don't either. Who else on SmackDown right now, to you, and if whoever's listening, is believable enough that they're going to beat Ronda Rousey for the
There's no one. Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks are the only two.
Correct. And Bayley if she came back. Maybe.
Yeah, sure. Bayley if she came back. But I didn't even think they would put Bayley in that spot with Ronda.
I don't think they would either.
Because they don't, and this isn't a talent problem. I'm not saying Naomi's not, I love Naomi, and I would love her to be on that level with Ronda Rousey, and I think talent-wise, she's beyond Ronda Rousey in the ring. However, from a WWE booking standpoint, she is not. From a WWE booking standpoint, someone like Natalya is not worthy of beating Ronda Rousey. Someone like Shayna Baszler, where there's a story right there, unless they took some stock into that, which it would take some time because they've shit all over Shayna for so long and just thrown it together with random people, she's not there. Shotzi, definitely not there. Xia Li, definitely not there. Are they going to build Raquel Rodriguez? Probably if they like her.
That's going to take time.
But she's not right there right now, Red. If they put her into that story, she would be crushed in that story. No one would care about Raquel Rodriguez or whatever fuck her name is now. There is nobody on that side of things that is ready for Ronda Rousey or Charlotte Flair or Sasha Banks in that matter. To be completely honest, they're on a different tier level than every other person from a booking standpoint. Again, I don't want you to think like, oh, he's saying they're better. No, that's subjective anyway, what you think is good wrestling. So it's really not for me to say what is a good wrestler and what is a bad wrestler. But I'm saying from a booking standpoint, they do not book anybody, man or woman, there's too many levels between talent. And yes, you have to have talent levels and you have to have people that are here and people that are here. But the gap and the time they put into building, it's like, Natalya is a veteran. And she shouldn't be a stepping stone just to get us to the next spot. She should be someone that's like, maybe Natalya could beat Ronda Rousey. But if they threw Natalya into Ronda Rousey right now, I'd be like, it's just time wasting to get us to wherever we need to go for the big shows. You know what I mean? Like, whether that means
100%.
Charlotte coming back, whether that means someone else coming, I don't know. But like, that is the kind of the way they do things. And it's the same with Roman. Sure, you've got Drew and you've got people like that. But also, like, I don't know. They don't build talent that's like someone beating Roman Reigns should be giving them the jerk off of their life. Like they should be blowing the biggest load they've ever blown. Like it's just like it's not like Drew's great and I love Drew, but Drew doesn't necessarily need Roman Reigns. Drew is already on that level with Roman Reigns. Like, okay, yes, in a WWE land, you can pick anyone from obscurity and build them, but to us, it's just rushed. And sometimes that works, and I will admit that sometimes it's like, okay, that works sometimes. Yes. But it does not work all the time. You should be slow building talent for that. But again, I'm not going to go too much more on that because we'll be here the whole episode just going like this is just a problem. But here's like, I'm going to talk about some more matches in a minute from WrestleMania Backlash, but you mentioned like, hey, it was a good show. Yeah, it was a good show. There was a lot of good wrestling. The problem is that a lot of people would not have watched that show because they didn't care. I did not care to watch that show yesterday. I had it on in the background. I walked in and out of a room that it was on, and I was like, okay, I'll catch this little bit, and I'm going to walk off. That is a problem. Good matches only get you so far if you're not having compelling stories. And there was just nothing outside of Cody, which I think everyone is really enjoying, and they've done a great props to them. They have handled Cody's comeback very, very well, and he is already in that next level tier talent that's like, okay, like Cody's here and he's having banger match. Cody and Seth's
match was incredible.
That was better than their WrestleMania match, and their WrestleMania match was fucking awesome. Like, that match was amazing. They click. Seth Rollins, again, I say this so many times, it just sounds like I'm just stroking Seth Rollins' ego, but he is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he is the perfect person for anybody to wrestle. Seth Rollins does not have bad matches with anybody. At this stage, I think Seth could wrestle a broomstick, and he would be just fine. He is to me, and this is going to, you know what this is going to sound like coming from me, he is a Shawn Michaels level performer. And I don't take that lightly because everyone knows that I think Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time. Seth Rollins is in that category of like great, fantastic professional wrestlers. And him and Cody just gel really well. Those counter for counters they had yesterday was just...
Yeah, the ending sequence, the last 5 to 10 minutes of that match was just like...
It was a masterpiece. And I like that Cody cheated.
I do too, and I think I was thinking because going into it, I was like,
"Are they going to even it out?"
Hell in a Cell's next month. I expect a third match, possibly inside the Cell.
I would assume so.
Cody shouldn't lose, but how the hell do they get there? And then I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, well, now Seth can say he cheated and blah blah blah." But then you see, and again, this is before Raw. You see tonight that on Raw. So you guys will have already seen this by the time you watch or listen.
And we already know that it'll be a DQ.
Yeah, but like Cody is going for the United States Championship tonight on Raw against Theory. And then my brain went, okay, so Seth will get involved. Something will happen. There'll be a DQ or some sort of chicanery. And that's how you get to the third match. But once he cheated last night, I was like, oh, that's how Seth can whine and moan. Oh, he didn't beat me fairly. He cheated. He pulled my tights. And then he can get like a little personal, like more personal, which he started to last week, talking about Dusty and things like that. But you can get more personal. And
definitely.
Maybe Cody just goes, you know what? I don't have to prove anything to you, but you pissed me off. Like, I'll fight you. And, there's ways to get there, but I'm expecting some sort of bullshit tonight.
Oh, there will. We can nearly say that with all honesty that's what will happen. Because they have a lot of stock in Theory. Say what you want to say, but he is talented in the ring.
Is what it is. Vince literally at WrestleMania said a future Universal WWE Universal Champion. That's what he said.
Probably right. Cody and Seth though, brilliant way to kick off the show. We don't need to talk about Omos and Bobby Lashley, whatever. let's talk about AJ and Edge, because they also had a better match than they had at WrestleMania. And I think it was more on the caliber of what we were expecting at WrestleMania, and just didn't quite. They had a great match at WrestleMania, but the expectations were so high that were like, they didn't, for me at least, they didn't quite get to the expectations. And that's probably, I mean, when you have two level of performer that Edge and AJ Styles, your expectations are pretty damn high. And listen, they still had a great match at WrestleMania, but I think this one was better. They learnt each other a little bit better, and I was like, oh yeah, they're gelling much more. Hey, sometimes people that are really fantastic don't always have fantastic matches. They just have good matches. And I think these are two good to great matches that they had with WrestleMania and WrestleMania Backlash. But we don't really need to talk about the match. Obviously, Damian Priest was banned from ringside. He come out, Finn Balor come out.
I was going to say, even though he showed up at ringside.
Yeah, so. And then Finn Balor come out.
I'm on the ramp. I'm like, what the what?
And I was like, whatever. But Finn come out and was like, yo, too sweet, all that fucking bullshit. And then a mysterious figure who was wearing the same pants as someone we knew. And I was
going to
say,
clearly that's someone. By the boots and pants right away, I was like, all right. Yeah.
We obviously, there was rumors and stuff like that, but a mysterious hooded figure come out from the ring and pulled AJ down, and Edge end up locking in a headlock.
Crossface, right?
It was like a headlock.
Headlock or crossface?
He started with a crossface and then he went into a headlock, and AJ passed out, or did he tap? I don't know. Regardless, he lost. And then the mysterious figure, they kept clearly saying, who is he? Who is he? Like they said that, I think Byron said it twice. I'm like, well, clearly that's fucking Rhea Ripley. But I mean, she's a jacked woman. Like I understand why someone might think that, but the crowd popped. She dyed her hair all black, and I was like, you know, a lot of people haven't really loved Judgment Day. There's been I've seen a lot of very opposite end of the spectrum. People don't like what's going on with Edge, and they don't think this is very good. And then some people love this. I'm in between the love and. I
was going to say I was in the middle, but I saw a lot of back and forth about Rhea being part of this too last night on the social medias. The Rhea Ripley stuff brings me more towards the love.
Me too. I'm all in on this.
Yes, I am all interested. I love how there's a woman in what is usually male dominated,
and not just a woman manager. Like she's gonna kick
wrestle
the shit out of some men, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. Because Rhea Ripley is. I would not like to run into Rhea Ripley or get into a fight with Rhea Ripley.
No, she's a very strong individual.
Also, she has a lot of people. She has a lot of interesting stands on the internet. Women and men, but women especially love to they're just like slap me in the face, Rhea, and I get it. I truly do understand it. Even as a man that loves penis, I get it. Listen, there's some weird sexual fantasies with people, and I'm not kink shaming. If you're into that, by all means. So you're not hurting anyone.
You be what you're into. Be into what you're into.
Do what you do. But Rhea Ripley is a specimen. It is a. I seen a picture of her from when she first debuted in the Mae Young Classic to now, and I was like,
a completely different person.
I'm like, is that the same person? Like, but that just fits. She look. If you look up badass in the dictionary, there's a picture of Rhea Ripley.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I just genuinely think that. I'm like, you just fit. I think this is going to be a cool, especially with all the stories that are going on at the moment. There's some cool potential. I put this out on Twitter. Like, let's do something different. Let's do Edge, Rhea, and Damian Priest versus Finn, AJ, and Liv Morgan inside of the cell.
I think that's where they're probably trying to go. I think they're
hopefully. I hope they don't just squash ass Liv out of this thing. Like Rhea just, she's all dominant now, and I don't think necessarily that Liv Morgan has to come out looking on like being on top of this, but I think you can get some mileage out of 3-on-3, something so different. Like, when do you have 3-on-3 and it's intergender? Like, you can still do it where, men don't hit women. There's still a way to do that in the cell. Listen, there's a way to do everything, and there's a way around everything. But I just think there's some cool opportunity to, like, could you imagine AJ bumping for Rhea? Oh my God, because he is just a bump machine. Like, she could pick him up and toss him into the third row if she wanted to. I'm pretty certain. She's a big. I mean big in a good way, guys. Don't think I mean big as in like anything else. She's just a jacked ass woman. Like, she is a man. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. She'll beat you up. But like, yeah, I think there's some cool opportunity, but I do agree with you. It takes it into another level. And if you there's some opportunity, maybe room for growing eventually with some more members of this stable. And I think while again, it may have come off as a little bit of a slow start to some people, I think when you give this some time, I think you could let this develop. This seems like a very creatively, this seems like a very Edge thing. As in, like, Edge is like the one going, I want this person, give me time to develop. And because Beth has been very open about the fact that she loves Rhea Ripley, and obviously she's going to be like, hey, if Edge is like, debating at home with Beth, like, she's probably going to go Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, and I loved how Beth herself on social media was playing it off like she was disappointed at Rhea. She was like, not you.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, just no.
We're like, yeah, we know, Beth. We know what you're doing, Beth.
Yeah, because, I bet you when Edge first went home and he was probably like, hey, I think they might be giving me a group. And she started saying it. I bet you Beth, like you said, was probably like, oh, you should try to get Rhea in that group. Like,
they planted the seeds very nicely. Like, obviously, she turned heel.
There's been rumors that, it was reported by Fightful that they also pitched Tommaso Ciampa as being someone who could eventually become a member of that group, which he also fits the aesthetic. He's got the gray beard like Edge. He wears the spot, he looks the part.
I said from the start, Shotzi would be perfect. I'm not a big Shotzi guy, and I don't love Shotzi, but I just think all the alt looking people fit that vibe very well. Like she can. Imagine I know Shotzi's iconic for her green hair, but imagine like dyeing that black.
Jet black, yeah.
With all her tattoos and just the way and her stature, like I don't know, it's just a very cool scene. But
it depends on how big you want the group to go.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be opposed to like.
I wouldn't be opposed to this.
Group, add another. Yeah, I'm cool if it's just these three.
Yeah.
But if you want to add another dude and another girl and make it 5, like 2 girls, 3 guys, or something like that, cool.
Do it.
Like. Yeah, why not? And Edge, they're going to be in good hands. They're going to have and I saw a lot of people on social media being like upset that Rhea joined, which whatever. If you don't like the Judgment Day stuff, then if you see someone you do like join it, you're going to be like, whatever. But the way that I look at it is she's going to have a more prominent role on TV from that. Like if she's part of that group,
Edge gets TV time.
More important than what she was doing otherwise. And I'm sorry. Rhea Ripley is like 24, 25 years old. She is to me, you want to talk about she's a pillar of the future of WWE. I think they did her a disservice a few years ago by having Charlotte go over at Mania for the NXT title with her. However, she should be a star. We talked about those levels earlier. Rhea Ripley should be at that level with Bianca, the 4 horsewomen. Like she should be in that conversation. And she's not. And it's because they booked her to shit.
You're getting the rub from Edge. I mean, in 6 months, 12 months time, when this, this group eventually does perish and fall, there's no excuse if you didn't learn anything from Edge.
Yeah.
He is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest of all time. Some might say he is the greatest of all time. And hey, he's certainly in the conversation. Edge is fantastic. You're getting a lot of equity just by being associated with Edge. So I can't complain about it. I didn't really see too many complaints about it, but hey, I was in and out of Twitter yesterday with the show. So listen, someone's always going to complain, but I have no complaints about it. I was like, let's go. Like, let's do this. And I was into it. But yeah, Rhea is now a part of Judge. I'm still not. That's the only thing I'm not sold on is the name. I don't love it.
I think about is the old pay-per-view.
So do I.
The only thing I think about.
And it was a cool pay-per-view name.
Yeah. I agree.
But I don't know if it's a cool stable name. But hey, do what you do. They're going to have all those promos with that throne, and Rhea's just going to look great with Damian Priest and Edge. So. And she looks cool as all shit with black hair.
I think so. Yeah. She's always looked. She
looks different than everybody else. And it's
exactly.
Doing her a service.
She stands out. She stands out. If you're watching wrestling with a non-wrestling fan, and when she comes out, the non-wrestling fan will be like, oh, who's that?
She is the demographic that they want. She's exactly what Gen Z millennials gravitate towards, because she's different, and it's like, oh, I want to look like that, because I don't want to look like everyday
Everybody
Julia
else.
and Joe. I want to look cool. I want tattoos. I want my head to be shaved. I want piercings. I want to be, especially modern day women, they want to be muscular. They want to be big. Like that is, she has this weird, I don't mean to sexualize everything, but she does present this weird sexual energy. But I think it works. I'm not saying because like she's a very attractive woman, but I mean in this, in the era that we live in, that works, right? Have you noticed that a lot of like, you look at TikTok and you look at what people are scrolling at on their phones, there is a weird sexualized energy, even if you're not presenting it in like, have sex with me. Like it's very like, that's just how, it's
she's confident. Like she comes out and she knows she's a badass. She looks like she knows she's a badass, and she is and looks like a badass.
Yeah.
And I think people see that and they get attracted to it because they're like, who is this badass? And I say this with respect, but who is this badass bitch? Who is this person?
She's that bitch.
That looks,
she knows she's that bitch.
Like she comes out, she's tatted up,
she's confident as all
black,
fuck.
Chains. She's ripped, like she's gorgeous. You're just like, who is this?
Also, probably helps that she's Australian, to be completely fucking honest.
Got a good accent. She can cut a promo if you let her talk.
Yeah, because our accent is
that you could want.
Our accent can be brutal, and sometimes, especially as an Australian, I notice Australians in American things, and I'm like, stop talking. But she doesn't really, it works for her persona. But like Rhea owns a room that she's in. I have nothing but praise for Rhea, not just because she's from Adelaide. I understand there's not a lot of us that you know, so sometimes I'm like Adelaide bias, and I'm just like, I give her everything. But also like she's just, if I had to sum Rhea Ripley up in a word, she's just cool. She's cool.
I think that's
this generation.
Like you see her and you're like, that's just cool shit. That's just cool shit.
I'm roughly the same. I'm a little tiny bit older than Rhea. But like she's just us. That's what people my age want to be. They want to be exactly that. We're in the era of confidence. We're in the era of owning your sexuality, and we're in the era of taking back what's ours kind of deal. Like there was a long period of time where it wasn't okay for women to be too sexy, especially on television, and especially being younger. Like now I feel like women are taking that back, and men too. Men are taking back that kind of like, let's ooze this kind of confidence right now without it being like just like fucking on, you know, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
And for you, and like you said a little bit earlier, like I do think it makes her, like when you talk about like there's a sort of like sexualness to her, even though she doesn't have a character that's like, I want you to want to do me. You know what I mean? Like that's not what we're talking about. It's
just what that.
And I think you might have mentioned it. Like it's also the unconventionality of how she, you know, like when you think, if you're a normal stereotypical whatever, and you're thinking of sexy, you're not thinking of a big, strong, muscly woman with tattoos and piercings, all black. Yeah, you're thinking Mandy Rose, and this is not a negative towards Mandy Rose, but that's what you're thinking of.
Yes,
you're thinking of Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
And when you see someone like Rhea Ripley, you're like, wow, that's not how. Again, bullshit word, but that's not how the stereotypical normal woman would look. So you see that, and then when you see that she's confident, she's a badass, and she's sexy on top of it, that almost creates it like it's almost like more sexy, because it's like, holy shit, here's this girl that is doing things her way. She's like, no, this is how I look. This is how I want to look, and I'm going to look better than you looking this way. So,
and it's like the thing of like,
ass.
if
you know what I mean?
It's like thinking like, it's like looking at Finn Balor and going, well, he's ripped, and going, oh my God, it's like, holy fucking shit. Like he's amazingly attractive. But then also going, wait a minute, but you know, fucking, I don't know, Kevin Owens, you look at Kevin Owens and you're like, well, that's also, it's the same thing. It's just two different things, just because of, you think of one thing. That's the era of this generation that we're in, is like, there's a, again, it's not because she's like a character that's like, ooh, like, let me take off all my clothes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Do what you do. But I'm just saying that, like, there's just this oozing of confidence that generates into that. And that's why she has, like, if you look up the Rhea Ripley stan culture, when her and Liv were together, Oh my god.
Oh, well, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did see some
Yeah,
of that.
my goodness.
People were shipping those two, if
There
you
you
would
go.
say that.
Look at
Right?
that. Shipping.
Was
Yeah,
that kind of
that was
that's
it.
kind of like
You got it.
younger lingo, right?
Yeah,
Shipping.
shipping. You ship them. So it's like when you ship a couple
I'm
and you're
hip.
like, you ship
I'm
them.
with it. I'm with it. That's
Yeah,
what they
but
say.
it Rhea, and this, again, this all comes from a place of praise. We're not saying anything is wrong here, guys. I just want to clarify that. Because sometimes when two men talk about women, it just gets, you know how straight
Yeah.
people, no offense.
I've been echoing Rhea Ripley's praises
Me too.
forever. Like, I think
From the moment I seen her, I'm like,
there
that
was
girl
a
is
reason
good.
why her and Bianca were the last two in the Rumble 2 years ago, and I think it's because WWE, even the old man behind the desk who does not understand things sometimes, was like, these two are the future of my women's division. Rhea kind of after that, kind of just whatever. Bianca's been,
but I will
positioned to be
say,
that,
Rhea has never not been featured. She's always been
I do
somewhere.
agree. They always make her a big deal. They always show her entrance. They always like.
She's
and again,
over
now
too.
that she's with Edge, I would very much like her to be a challenger of Bianca Belair's.
And we'll get
real
there.
soon.
SummerSlam
Real soon,
could
please.
be.
Give me a long feud with those two, with Rhea eventually taking it from her.
Can you imagine the promos that could happen with Edge and Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, that kind of, like, could you imagine Rhea Ripley going for the women's championship with Edge in her corner?
Yeah, it's excellent.
Also, this is great for Edge because Edge, I feel like, loves being on television, but he also shouldn't be wrestling every single pay-per-view.
All the time.
He shouldn't be wrestling every single week.
And
this is a way to keep Edge on TV and have, like, well, Rhea's 24. She can take a bump. Damian Priest is whatever.
Damian Priest is,
take a bump. Like, it doesn't.
And then if you add more people, that's just.
And Edge can just do
this guy. Yeah, Edge becomes the guy where I'm going to talk and I'm going to be at ringside with all you guys and I'm going to help you win, like by cheating and doing shit like that. And then when I have to for the big shows, the pay-per-views or whatever, I'll wrestle because I can still wrestle, but I don't need to
tag match bumps too. He can get in
tag matches, six person tags, whatever you want to do. This makes Edge's return and his career length dramatically longer now because he doesn't have to wrestle every week because he has people doing it for him. And
it's a formula
it's just good all the way around.
It's a formula that works and a formula we should get. Oh, it's just so good. I really like.
Faction there should be more. And again, this is not. I have found myself. I really much enjoy wrestling with a lot of factions, and I'm not saying every wrestler needs to be in a faction, but like more factions are not a bad thing. People should have friends. In real life, if you're working with someone and you work with someone for 5 or 6 years, or the same like you work at a grocery store, people come and go all the time, but you have your standard people that have probably been there longer and as long as you. And you with your work friends, they might not be, I'm sure maybe some of them are, I don't know, but they might not be your real friend, like your real life friends. But you have work friends that you hang out with at work. You might go on lunch with at work. You might talk about wrestling with at work. So why don't any of these wrestlers or more of these wrestlers have friends at work?
I mean, it's not the worst logic in the world. I hear you. Listen, you don't have to.
I just think more, you don't have to necessarily, everyone needs to be a faction, but like more people should have friends and people that look out for them.
Yeah.
Like how many times have we seen the babyface in the ring getting the shit kicked out of him for like 3 minutes before either nobody comes out or somebody comes out after it's like, where are his friends?
I get that.
Nobody likes this person. Like nobody.
I don't actually. Listen. Your logic isn't off, and I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you over it. But yeah, your logic isn't off. One more thing before we run away. We have to obviously talk about the 6-man tag. I mean, it was a good match. I'm not saying that, but it was a Raw or SmackDown or even a fucking house show match, to be completely honest. And the Bloodline won, and I was like, oh, okay.
My thing,
you should probably, to be honest, I was actually going into that show. I was like, well, Riddle and that will probably win. And I don't think
because it was non-title,
and I don't think that the Bloodline should be losing if they're presented as this big dominant faction. And then they won, and I was like, oh, it was just a no-win situation in that regard, because I'm like, there's ways to go with both and there's also ways to not go with both. But again, I'm not saying it was a really good match, but I don't think it was a pay-per-view main event. When you put 2 titles on one person and then don't even have them defend either of them, it's like bold move right there. But I don't really have much to say on that 6-man tag. The only other thing that I really want to say is just this shouldn't become a norm of like, why are we only having one championship match? WWE already run too many pay-per-views as it is. I think they should cut from 12 to 8. I don't think 4 is enough, but I think 8 is like a pretty solid number. You can do one, every other month sometimes. Sometimes like you double up with, and that's fine. But it would make it feel more special. But like when you're not having any championship matches, that's when you probably should go, maybe we're running too many shows here because we obviously didn't care to do. If you're saving stuff for the big shows, wipe out the middle ones. I know some people won't agree with that, but if you're saving stuff for the big shows like Money in the Bank and SummerSlam and Survivor Series, wipe out the in-betweens. Make Raws feel special. Make Raws build to these nights where we have 4 or 5 great matches. Make, how Dynamite do, and even NXT do like.
I was just going to say, Dynamite
shows.
and NXT were the perfect examples because they were the ones that they were like, hey, we only have 4 or 5 big shows a year. So guess what? Every 4 or 5 Dynamites, there's going to be a jam-packed Dynamite where we have multiple title matches, and it just feels like a bigger show.
Why couldn't you have like branded shows like, Backlash Raw, and you have like, Clash of the Champions Raw and TLC Raw, or whatever you want to fucking do. You can make Raw and SmackDowns actually feel more important, where you and I go, we might want to watch that show because there's 3 or 4 great title matches that are going to be on this show. Also, we need to I know there's some reports going around and whatever, but we need to either respect the brand split and actually have 2 separate rosters where they don't intertwine, or we need to shove it up someone's ass and say, everyone can be everywhere. Because I hate this middle shit where some people are floating. I hate it. They always do it. Don't Whether it's do it.
What was it? The brand-to-brand invitation?
Fuck
what was
that shit.
Yeah, it was always some wild card rule, brand-to-brand invitational. Now they're just like, oh, we're just going to unify the belts. So whatever, Roman's going to be on bullshit. It's like, then why have a draft? What are we doing? What are we doing? Because are you going to have Roman lose both those titles to one person? You're going to have them, because I don't think, and I know you and I disagree here because you think they will have the title when it's The Rock and him at Mania next year. I don't think they need it, but he has both belts now. So what do? Does he lose both to one person? Does he lose one to one and then he loses one to the other? And then he starts going crazy. How do we get out of where we are? And I feel like they're going the other way, because literally before they changed it to a 6-man 2 weeks ago, they were going to unify the friggin' tag titles, which I think they still might even do still. So if you're unifying things and you're going to have the champions float, maybe that's cool. That's how you get the big time people on both shows. No. I'm fine with that. But the rest of the rosters need to be on the shows that they're on. Period.
Just respect it to its absolute core, or fucking annihilate it. I'm for a brand split, but if you're not going to respect it, end it and just cut your roster a bit more. I know some people are against releases, but listen, that's a thing that's going to happen way more. So just cut the roster to the absolute bare what you need, work with what you've got, and have them go everywhere, or have 2 fucking separate rosters. It pisses me off when they do this in-between bullshit. I hate it. I hate it to its core. Stop doing it. But
it's just one of those things to me where, like, it's gotten to the point now, and WWE always does this when they do things. They drive it to the point where they don't become exciting anymore. But, like, why should we be excited about the draft when they do the draft every year, when we know
in a few months' time they're going to be on
First of all, they
show.
moved the draft the last couple years, so it happens 5 weeks before Survivor Series. So everybody fighting on the teams for their respective shows were on the other friggin' team for the last year. Sense. All of SmackDown's team last year was on Raw 3 weeks before Survivor Series happened. So why am I watching this and going like, oh, they care about winning for SmackDown? They just got there. Yeah, the hell do they give a shit? Understand it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, you do things like that, like middling with the draft and doing all these things where people show up. So like next year or later this year, when they go, hey, we're having a draft, like, what makes me excited to be like, ooh, a draft? Great. For in 6 months for me to see both people, all these people on both shows anyway, when they run out of ID. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
But
we can leave it at that.
But we won't rant too much longer. We hope you did at least enjoy WrestleMania Backlash for what it was. Hope you enjoyed Raw. I hope Cody is either the United States champion or there's some bullshit that happened. Bum, bum, bum.
I think there's probably going to be bullshit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
Also, shout out to Madcap Moss getting that big dub last night.
Madcap fucking
Moss.
Big
dub. I like Madcap Moss.
Are you
anyway?
Someone's come in that hasn't made an appearance on the show in quite some time.
Oh yeah,
but she's doing that cat thing where they sit there and look at you and they're like, "I want to come up," and then you're like,
I thought we were gonna have my guest come up at the beginning of the show because he was chilling down there giving me that look, but he sauntered off. So there she is, queen.
She's the queen. She's the star. She's
giddy.
She's
looks thrilled. Looks thrilled to be here.
You know how she is. Oh, there's a motorbike or something going past the house. I live on the new house. I live on.
Got to go check it out.
She's like, I'm out of here. The new house I live on. I live on quite a main road, so like a lot of trucks and that come past, and she's always like.
Yeah,
like,
that's why. So my cat Louie, I live on a main road on a downtown area in an apartment building, and we always, especially throughout during the day, if I have a day off or something like that, trucks loading stuff, motorcycles if it's nice out, all this stuff. And Lou's the same way. Lou will be like,
kids like, what the fuck's going on?
I have big windows. He'll like jump up to the window and look down, like, hey, what's going on down there?
Yeah, because kids nosy as fuck. Like as soon as there's a person out the front, she's like.
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to do that too, but I can't because people look at them. People look at me like, because I'm nosy as fuck. I love I love knowing.
They'll be like, what's that weirdo staring at us for?
Yeah, exactly. But Gid's always like it. I'm like, you do you, Gid. But yeah, she's always like investigating because like my bedroom's in the front part of the house, so like she can look out and be like, yo, what the fuck's going on out here? So that's just how Giddy is. But yeah, I can still hear the motorbike. Someone's revving it, and it's just like, can you just fuck off?
I can hear it faintly.
Yeah. It's like, can you fuck off? Because you know when people just sit there and rev their cars or rev, I'm like,
trust me, I see it all.
What's the point?
Every day. That's everyday life for me.
What are you doing? Like, why are you just sitting here revving?
They obviously they got to show everybody how cool they are.
Listen, you don't need to tell me that you have a 5-inch willy. I don't care.
You don't need to tell me that you're small.
You don't need to like flaunt that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, size doesn't matter. It's how you use it. But also, like, that's just telling me that you also probably wouldn't use it that well. Yeah. To pump chump, you know what I'm saying? But on that note, great way to end the show. Make sure to follow us. So. Make sure to follow us. All the links are on the screen, as you can see, or in the description below. There's new episodes every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. That's Adelaide time for anyone that's like, what the fuck does that mean? Just do a little Google conversion for the people in the States. It's usually up by the time you are awakening for your day. So you can watch us with breakfast. You can watch us whenever you want. YouTube is a great thing. You can watch us at 2 a.m. You can watch us at 8 p.m. You can watch us at 12:30 a.m. It really does not matter when you watch us. It's a nice hour to kind of escape. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Other than that, make sure you watch Between Two Beards, JPJ and Pluggo for Star Wars reviews.
Yes,
from Pluggo.
We're going to have a weekly Star Wars Minute with Pluggo because last week we talked about how he had never seen Star Wars. So he has agreed to watching one Star Wars movie a week.
One a week.
And he will be giving us a review on said movie every week on Between Two Beards.
For those prequels.
He makes it through the whole
can't wait to get to those
Skywalker saga. Yes.
As you should. I'm sure we'll talk about Star Wars again at some point because obviously we both have a lot of feelings towards Star Wars.
Obi-Wan is coming out soon.
Ooh, yeah, I can't wait for that. I can't wait because Ewan McGregor is masterpiece. Yep. So on that note, we love you all very much and we'll see you next Thursday at 9 o'clock. Bye everyone.